Hello, I'm going to start another seed today, and this one is going to be Antirrhinum or Snapdragons. Some of you may know them as their common name. You can see here I've got this big plastic bath thing, and I thought you might like to see a different process of sowing a seed, and that is through soil blocking. So here is a little contraption, and it holds about 20 soil blocks, and you can see there's little holes here, and this is where the soil goes in. And then if you press it out, it has these little dimples, and the dimples will imprint on top of the soil block, and that's where you can drop your seed in. These come in a different size, where they come in a bigger size like this, so sort of 4 block, and the same process, you know, with a big dimple there, and you can sow bigger seeds in there as well. So I thought I'd show you how I make my mix first of all, if you wanted to try this. So here is just 1 measure of seed compost. Put that in. Now I've got here 1 measure of coir. Now coir is from the coconut husks, and it is really great at retaining moisture and water, so that's really great for young seedlings. When the roots start, they've got something to go to as a water source, and it also keeps these teeny tiny soil blocks hydrated, because they do dry out rather quickly, so that will go in as well. Next onto this, I'm going to mix all this soil together really well, and then I'm going to hydrate that coir, even though it's been hydrated already, just to make it quite wet. It's the wetness that helps it cling together along with sand. So the coir has got in there a bit of fertiliser already, because it comes already within that. You can add, if you wanted to, a measure of worm compost. Not really needed. You're only starting seeds, so it's a bit of a waste. I'd save that for when you're potting on. So I'm just mixing that all together. Make sure that coir is nice and wet. And if you hold it together, you can see that it's forming, but it's like falling apart. So what we do is we add a measure of, this is just a bit of horticultural sand, so I'm just going to put that in there and give that a really good mix up. And if you ever think about when you go to the seaside and you make sand castles, that when it's quite wet, sand castles hold themselves together really well. So if I just give like a bit of that a squeeze, you can see how wet it is. That you see the water coming off there, and actually, if you can see, it's actually holding its form more because of the sand in there. So if I get my little soil blocker, I just don't press down the handle, because that'll push it out. Use the little second handle here and just push that down onto the bottom, swish it around on the bottom just to make sure it's all in. And then let me get a little tray so you can see. And then you press down on the handle, and you've got yourself some soil blocks with little dibs at the top that you can actually sow some seeds into. I've just done it again just to put one on a flat tray so you can see that. Let's see if I can put it, a bit wet at the moment, but you can see got a little soil block there. Put that in there, and then whenever you water these, you can either use the takeaway box tray where the water comes up from underneath, or you just put a little trickle and roll it around, but you don't ever water on the top, because basically it'll erode the blocks down and then your seedlings will be loose. So I'm going to do one of the big ones now, just so you can see that. Now you don't have to do this at all. You can just keep on going with those takeaway boxes, a lot less faff, and give you exactly the same results. But it's just a different method if you're interested in seeing what that looks like. So here comes the big one. I'll put that on there. Whoop. There you go, and you can actually see the little holes here that you can pop your seeds in. And you can pick them up, and you've got a little soil block all ready to go. So one of the good things is you can actually get a set of these within the takeaway pot, and you know you've got 20 plants in there, so by the time you cycle through 5 colours, that's about 100 plants, and the lid will sit on the top, and then later on you can just pick up the blocks and put them in a pot and grow them on from there. So on to the antirrhinums. I'm going to pop a picture up first so you can have a look at the picture of what an antirrhinum is. And this is what a plant looks like, and this was sown last September, and they take a long time to grow, which is why we're sowing them now. Now Snapdragons are branching plants, so these are ones that you need to pinch out, and you can see we've got quite a few leaves on here. So I'm just going to get my snips and I'm going to go to the second set of leaves. I'm just going to nip that out like that, and then what will happen is this will encourage more branching to happen, which will then give us more flowers. Not all plants are like this. This one is like this. Now with the end, I could put that, if I remove the bottom set of leaves, into some water and see if it roots and then grow it on from there, but I always find that the flowers aren't as great, so I don't bother. I just tend to throw them away. So I've got the seed here, and the seed is absolutely teeny tiny. So if you are not doing soil blocking and you are going to do the sprinkle method in the takeaway pot, be very sparing, because it's easy to get carried away and then you'll end up with hundreds of plants to pot on. And I don't know if you can see it, it's absolutely tiny. So you're going to need to get a trusty toothpick, a pair of glasses, dampen the end of your toothpick, and you should be able to pick up, I don't know if you can see that, one seed. And then you can place that one seed onto your soil block. And do another one. So it's a good time to get a cup of tea and a podcast on and do it like that. But you can see it's a very labour intensive task, which is why the sprinkle method is quite a good way of doing it. So not all the seed will germinate from this, it's a bit erratic, so you probably lose about a third, maybe a quarter of them. Sometimes you could get a good batch, so just be mindful of that they're not all going to germinate, which is why it's quite good if you've got the cells, you can see which ones haven't done and choose to resow them if you want to. And yeah, like I say, get a cup of tea on. I can hear my shed kettle going now. I'll give you a quick look at that. There's my shed kettle. Time for tea, time for a podcast, and time just to chill out, listen to a podcast, drink the tea, and sow some antirrhinum seeds. I'll see you again soon. Bye!